The murder of Mary Pinchot Meyer, 1964, Washington, D.C. October 12, 1964, Georgetown, Washington, D.C. It was a perfect autumn afternoon, the kind that makes the Capitol glow in gold and red. Along the quiet towpath of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, Mary Pinchot Meyer, a 43-year-old painter and socialite, walked as she often did, notebook in hand, eyes alive with thought. She was tall, graceful, radiant, the kind of woman who seemed untouched by time. But behind that calm exterior was a life far more complex than anyone around her knew. Mary wasn't just a socialite. She was the ex-wife of Cord Meyer, a senior CIA official, and she had been intimately close to President John F. Kennedy, the most powerful man in America. When Kennedy was assassinated less than a year earlier, it broke her. Friends said she cried for weeks, painting feverishly, speaking of peace, of politics, of a world that had lost its light. That afternoon, she was seen leaving her Georgetown home around noon, wearing a light blue windbreaker and sneakers. She smiled to a neighbor. It was the last time anyone saw her alive. At 12:25 p.m., two sharp cracks shattered the stillness, two gunshots echoing through the canal path. A mechanic working nearby ran toward the sound. There, on the dirt trail, lay Mary, motionless, her sketchbook scattered beside her, the autumn leaves stained red. She'd been shot twice, once in the back, once in the head. It looked like an execution. Her wallet and jewelry were untouched, no signs of robbery, just silence and the faint hum of the city beyond the trees. Police swarmed the scene within minutes. Not far away, they found a man, Ray Crump Jr., a 25-year-old laborer, soaking wet and disoriented, claiming he'd fallen into the canal while fishing. He was small, nervous, and scared, but there was no gun, no blood, no evidence linking him directly to the killing. Still, in 1964 America, a poor black man found near the body of a wealthy white woman was enough to be charged with murder. Months later, the trial of Ray Crump captivated Washington. The press painted him as a killer, but his defense attorney, Dovie Johnson Roundtree, one of the first black female lawyers in D.C., stood fearless before the jury. "There is not one shred of evidence," she said, "not one fingerprint, not one eyewitness, only assumptions." And she was right. The only witness, a man who claimed to have seen someone fleeing the scene, could not identify Crump clearly. The height didn't match, the clothes didn't match, the gun was never found. After days of testimony, the jury deliberated for less than an hour. Verdict: not guilty. Ray Crump walked free, but the case didn't end there, it had just begun. Mary's death struck the Capitol like a shockwave. Who would want her dead, and why? Rumors spread quickly. Some said she'd kept a diary, one that described her private affair with JFK and her belief that his death was part of a larger conspiracy. When her close friend, Ann Trout, told Mary's sister, Toni Bradley, about the diary, Toni and her husband, Ben Bradley, editor of the Washington Post *, went to Mary's home to find it. But someone had beaten them there. In the darkened study stood James Jesus Angleton, chief of CIA counterintelligence. He said he was protecting government interests. He already had the diary in his hands. When questioned later, Angleton claimed he destroyed it. No proof, no paper, no truth. Just silence again. Friends remembered Mary as intelligent, free-spirited, and brave. She painted with emotion, spoke openly about peace, and criticized the CIA's growing power. She once said, "If we don't learn to love each other, we'll destroy everything." To some, she was a threat, a woman who knew too much and spoke too freely in a world run by men who didn't like being questioned. To others, she was simply a casualty of circumstance, a woman who walked the wrong path at the wrong time. More than 60 years later, Mary's murder remains unsolved. No one was ever convicted. The case files sit cold, the truth locked away somewhere between history and secrecy. The canal where she died is quiet now, just the sound of water lapping at the stones and the whisper of wind through the trees. A small plaque marks the spot. People pass it without knowing that, on that ground, a woman once dreamed of a gentler America and paid for it with her life. Her voice may be gone, but her questions still haunt the corridors of power. Don't forget to subscribe for more historical true crime documentary.